do you have any burning questions about using the Equiband, about getting results with the Equiband, or best strategies and tips and tricks for using the Equiband? Well, basically, I started the channel to track my Equiband journey and in the process help anybody else that was also facing the same struggles. And then along the way, you guys started posting a lot of great questions on a number of videos. And so I figured that I would make this series where I answer all of these questions in a video, because if one person asked, chances are more than one person has the question. So I hope that this helps, and I'll probably make like a compilation with all the questions in one, but then also break them out into individual videos as well. So, and I'm not trying to dox anybody who's asking me these questions, so I would just like to say up front, thank you for asking these questions, and if you want recognition, I'm more than happy to tag you in it or things like that, of that nature. But anyway, I went back and forth on it because on one hand, I don't want to discredit people for the questions, but then on the other hand, I wasn't trying to dox anybody who didn't want to, be public on the internet. So, okay, so the next video. Hi, he, you got him excited. We do stretches a lot. My horse's masseuse told me how and why to do it. I have to be careful with my mare. She gets too excited and impatient. Do you know anyone who uses blankets from Sport Innovations or any blankets with PEMF and massage? So, love this question. It was posted on my horse stretching video, which I can link here. And yes, my horse absolutely loves to stretch, and it is quite apparent from his reaction how much he likes to stretch, which is my, signal to continue to stretch him, because it feels good. One thing I will say is that I stretch my horse twice a week, and I think that it is by far the least utilized aspect, because all you have to do is buy carrots. Like, it's free. It takes literally like 10 to 20 extra minutes, and it takes very little effort, and it makes such a big difference to their body. So that rant was just to commend you that you actually stretch your horse, because I am at a barn with 60 other horses, and I can count on one finger how many people stretch really regularly. Sorry not to call y'all out, but But there's another point that you make here, and you said, I have to be careful with my mare. She gets too excited and impatient. And that is something that I think that is, people think, oh, it's stretching, so this is about stretching. But really, when it comes to horses, everything is about training. So yes, you are stretching, but since carrots are involved, horses tend to go a little like deer in headlights, like, oh my God, it's food. We got to freak out and panic and run people over and do all this crap. So the reality is that yes, you are stretching them. Yes, you are trying to move their body in a way that perhaps is uncomfortable for them or even hard for them. But really what you're doing is you are training them that if they do this, then they get that. And if your horse is being aggressive, then you have to take proper steps to make sure that doesn't continue to happen. So if your horse is being aggressive about the carrots, then you must reprimand them for that, because otherwise this whole task becomes quite dangerous quite fast. And I actually, so my older horse is the one that I stretch twice a week. I actually one time, I had a 3-year-old horse and a 2-year-old horse, and I was like, I'm gonna stretch these guys. And the reality is that their brains, since they don't really understand the concept of work yet, they basically were like falling over to get these carrots. And I was like, okay, like that's not the point, right? That is not the purpose of stretching is to help the body move in different ways. And actually, that would be an interesting experiment to stretch them now, because they are now 5 and 6 and they do regular work. So it might be a different result. But when they were really little, they were seriously blindsided by the fact that I was actually giving them carrots, and one of them almost fell down, like literally almost knocked herself over. So it's worthwhile while you're stretching to make sure that your horse is that you're training your horse to stretch. You're not, yes, of course you are stretching your horse for their benefit, but you also must maintain pretty strict rules. And what's interesting is, my horse, it's a stretching routine. And so I do the same thing the same way every time. And now, for instance, like there's this stretch where they lift their hind leg, and then their neck comes around and they try to touch their nose to their hind leg. And he, the second I go back to his haunches, he now knows and he lifts his own leg because he knows what the stretch is. So you can train them that this is the stretching routine and this is the order we do it in. And my horse is not aggressive about the carrots anymore because he understands that if he does the stretch, then he gets the carrot. So it's important to make sure that you're also training your horse along the way not to be aggressive, because the stretching isn't about carrots. It's about the stretch. And if they do the stretch, then they get the carrot. And they don't get the carrot before they do the stretch. And of course, careful, don't get bitten, like don't get hurt. This isn't trying to be World War III. It's just a mentality and an approach for you as a rider to say, okay, I am helping you, but the carrot is not the point. And the last question, do you know anyone who uses blankets from Sport Innovations or any blankets with PEMF and massage? So not from Sport Innovations. However, I do know someone who uses the 3-in-1. I know someone who uses Centropix, and I know someone who uses Bemer. And basically everyone says that their blanket is and MagnaWave, that one too. And everybody I've talked to says that their blanket is the best and their blanket gets the best results, and that, that they're going to stand behind whatever brand they use. So interestingly though, the one question that I always ask is, have you noticed a difference since you started using it, right? Like, okay, fine, everyone's gonna say their blanket is the best, their blanket makes the best results, like blah, 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 marketing 101. But basically, have you noticed a difference before and after you started using it? And I will also say universally, that answer is also yes. So while I have found that everybody has a different brand that they prefer, the answer has always been universally yes, that using the PEMF blankets is better than not using them. So take that for what it's worth. And the one thing I will say is I like the Centropix. If and when I'm able to actually buy Fuego one, I like the Centropix one, and the reason for that is because it's a blanket that he and I can eventually share. Because I personally would be interested if the PEMF blanket, to feel it myself. That's the part I'm most interested in. And the Bemer blanket, you have to buy like the human one versus the horse one. And Centropix is one blanket that can be used on the horse or on the human. And then it's like a dial, right? Like you can just go horse mode or human mode, like versus Bemer is like you have to buy 2 separate blankets that run at 2 separate frequencies. Because, small rant, my understanding is that the different, based on how much blood you have, is how high of a frequency, basically the higher the frequency, the more movement you get internally. And so for horses, they have they're huge, right? So they need it cranked way up. Whereas if you do even the small, my understanding, if you do the smallest setting, even on the horse blanket on a person, that is still way too much. So I like the idea of Centropix being like, okay, here's one blanket that you can just adjust the settings on, and the human can use it or the horse can use it. So that's the one that I'm going to go with when I buy mine. So happy stretching. And while this video comes with a warning, I would say that stretching is highly beneficial for your horse, so at least try. And if your horse is just way too aggressive, then don't do it again. However, if you keep it in mind that you are training them to stretch, and by being good, they get the carrot as a reward, then you're going to set them up for success too. So just things to think about. So I hope you enjoyed this video on this question that I got about the Equiband. Please keep the questions coming, because chances are if you have the question, somebody else has the question, and I can't read your mind. So if you comment on the video your question, there's a very real chance that your question is going to end up in a video and you'll get your answer, not just in written form, because I have responded to all these questions as well. This channel is trying to continue to help educate people on how to build the best Equiband program for their horse and get the results, the amazing results that I've seen. I used the Equiband back in 2021 and it is now 2024. In addition to the fact that it was a game changer on my horse's rehab, the benefits of him being able to use his body better, transcended his rehab. And I'll link my reaction video. I did a side-by-side comparison of before and after the Equiband, because one of the things that he improved upon is his straightness. That the results that I've seen with the Equiband were not just beneficial to his rehab, they were beneficial to how he uses his body to this day. And if you do this right, if you build the program right, if you build up that strength right, it doesn't mean you have to use it forever. It means you have to use it for an amount of time that enables them to use their body better, and then you can use it as more of like a maintenance tool. You don't have to use it all day, every day. It's like a workout program. It's a workout regime. Not everybody struggles with the exact same thing. If you give your horse more strength to do the endurance test, whatever your endurance test is, whether it's jumping, dressage, eventing, Western, racing, it doesn't matter. If you give your horse more strength in their ability to do the work, then the work can get better. And so I hope that these questions have helped, because I guarantee if one person has the question, more than one person has the question. So keep the questions coming and I will keep answering them. See you on the next one.